Good night, everyone. Tonight, God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Aaron J. Spears. If I can give you some the show news on tonight, and we're gonna start with Metro Police signs two semi rifles off the street from two teenagers. You know, one was 17 years old, one was 18 years old. You know, they were tampered with cars, you know, in a garage, and that attached to the downtown local metro station according to the MTPD. Now the Metro MPTD signs not on it, you know, not one, but two loaded semi rifles from two teenagers. Now these rifles, assault weapons that they had perceived from these two teenagers, this weapon was loaded. So these guns was apparently caught before they can do any damage. You know, so that good these police got to before they did any damage because they say it was loaded. So the teenagers, 17 to 18 years old, tampering with cars in the downtown, you know, Lost Metro garage, which is attached to the station. So these rifles was loaded at the time of the arrest. You know, so I'm glad, you know, you all got those rifles before any killing had occurred. You know, so now this is two young teenagers that had two loaded semi rifles in their presence. You know, so I already had banned assault weapons, rifles, assault weapons, it's the same thing. I also had raised the age to purchase guns and rifles, 25 years old. You know, because this is too young, 17, 18 years old, having these kind of powerful weapons. You know, background check. No one under 25 should be purchasing any kind of weapon, any kind of guns or rifles. You know, too, I also have requested penalty, you know, for gun trafficking. You know, so we stop the guns in pawn shops and stores, you know, from selling these guns to young people. They're gonna be gun trafficking out in the street. So you know, so if you get caught, your gun is not registered to your name, and you got it from someone else, there's gonna be a penalty from you trafficking guns because you're trying to get these powerful guns off the street. You know. So just a story on the two teenagers that had a loaded semi gun. So we're going to talk about, you know, we had Mardi Gras in New Orleans on Tuesday. You know, 2023 Mardi Gras was a big time success, you know, for the New Orleans economic. So if the amount of trash to clean up Wednesday morning is dedicated to Mardi Gras, after Mardi Gras, you know, cleanup in New Orleans was a big success, you know, so it was a big success. You know, it had so many tourists that came down, you know, for the city tours, you know, it might have been one of the biggest that they ever had in New Orleans. You know, so while the citizen, you know, for New Orleans, they saw big, huge economic boost during the carnival season. So that it was doing real great, you know, so they boost that up. So this carnival season is already being reflected on as a special year. You know, so we do this once a year. And one of the biggest, you know, the crowd had just pulled into the street dancing, having a great time. You know, so I'm glad the tourists had a great time. I'm glad they had stumbled across, anything negative. You know, they said everything was good. So we're going to thank God for this year, a Mardi Gras Day. We had a good weather. The weather was good. You know, the parade. I'm back on the tradition. All that was good. So they had a little ups and downs this day, but it still worked out fine. So New Orleans police were trying to make our visitors safe. You know, the police reported 157 illegal guns were taken off the street. Thank God for that. So they was pretty much aiming to protect the tourists that was down here, trying to make sure they were safe. You know, so they did took 157 illegal guns off the street on Mardi Gras Day. You know, so their priority was to keep our residents and visitors, you know, safe as they enjoy the Mardi Gras festival in catching bees. So the measure of the economic impact this Mardi Gras had on the city, how the organization hoped to release, those numbers as quickly as possible. So they don't have the numbers yet, but they know everything had turned out great for the Mardi Gras in New Orleans on Tuesday. So we had talked about Metro Police. They took two semi loaded guns, rifles, off the street from two teenagers. One was 17, one was 18 years old. You know, and took them and arrested them. That's too young to have this powerful gun. So that's why months ago I had banned, assault weapon. Also changed the age limit, for the purchase of these guns. We have to be 25 years old plus a background check. So this is too young. And if you can't purchase in the store and the police stop you with these, it's a penalty that you will have to face. That you don't have guns not in your name, because if you under 25 years old, you cannot purchase these guns. So we talked about that. Thank God, the police had got to them before they did any damage, because they said the two rifles was loaded. So we also talked about Mardi Gras on Tuesday. We had a great day. It's a celebration for New Orleans once a year for Mardi Gras. And our police is always trying to make sure our tourists is very safe. So they also had took 157 illegal guns off the street that day. And they have not did no damage, and they caught them just in time. So we had two stories here. Mardi Gras had a successful, day here in New Orleans. The economic, everything boosts up. They don't have the numbers right now. And we also talk about the two teenagers that had loaded semi guns. So that's all the short news I have for y'all today, and I see y'all on the next video.